Hi, so the lesson that I chose to do from the textbook was phrasing lesson of fluency. The intensification that I used was frequent opportunities for student response, practice, and review. The skills targeted in this lesson are how to distinguish between fluency and non-fluency, what's the difference between the two. And the lesson objective is the student will be able to increase reading fluency. So the materials that you need for this lesson are a whiteboard, but just for the ease of making this video, I am using this laminated piece of construction paper. And I put the sentence on there that I am going to work on with the students. You need a whiteboard marker for every child, for every student, an eraser or like a tissue so they can erase with. And also a scrapbook sleeve. And the prep that you need to do on this is you need to actually type up the phrase that you want for the students to read. We're in distance learning right now. I'm in school, but I don't have access to a printer, so I did write it. But if I was doing this in the class, I would type it up. And I would also not give all the students the same exact amount of sentences. So for my stronger readers, I would probably give them several sentences to use. But for my weaker readers, I would focus on just one or two sentences, probably just even one, because I think if I give them too much, it'll overwhelm them. And I want them to feel comfortable with it. So that's how I would do this lesson to begin with. Now, to start, you take the phrase on the whiteboard and you read it with fluency. And as you're reading, you point to every word. So I would read to the students, "The cat ran all the way home." And then I would encourage the students to read it with me. And as they're reading it, I would again point to every word on the board. So together we'd say, "The cat ran all the way home." The cat ran all the way home. I would then explain to them, have you ever heard a robot read? And I would ask, do you think a robot reads the same as I do? Do we sound the same? And just hear their responses and say, I'm going to read like a robot, and I want you to tell me how it sounds. And you tell me if I sound better reading or if my robot voice sounds better reading. And then I would read like a robot. "The cat ran all the way home." Something like that. And I would point to each word, and again I would ask them if it sounded the same. I say no, the first time I read it sounded better because I read with fluency. And then I would go into fluency and what fluency is and what components of fluency we look for. The next step in our lesson would be, for fluency, I want to record, or I want to see how I'm reading a story. So I would make swoops under each word as I'm reading. So I'd go, "The cat ran all the way home." And under each word, I'd have a swoop because that kind of indicates how I'm reading. Then we would read it together. "The cat ran all the way home." I would do the sweeps together again. We would do it again and again and again. Then I would do it with the robot voice. I'm going to erase this here. And so as I'm reading in a robot voice, I'd go, "The cat." I'm like, uh-oh, what do you notice is different about how I read? Yeah, that's right, the sweep was this way. That's not being a fluent reader. And we would fix it and discuss how to make it more fluent. So when we're done with the whiteboard, I'd give each student their sheet. I'd probably group them up into groups and base the groups on the reading level of the students. So they'd have their papers and we would do it together. So the cat ran all the way home, and we would again do the sweeps, and I would have them sweep with me on their paper, and then as they read, I would do the sweeps, and we would look at it, and if there was an error made, I'd say, "Oh, look what happened." We discuss how we fix it. So that's kind of how I would do this lesson. Again, for the intensification, I would individualize it because I don't think this would fit for the entire class. We do need to kind of focus on each individual child, but yeah, that's the lesson. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.